Welcome into Honorado and Bagnardi. I'm Chris Honorado. He's Sean Bagnardi. We are live at Alpin Haus. Pool, spa, fitness center. There are boats here. Route 30 in Amsterdam. Man, it's good to be back at Alpin Haus, and our thanks to the Heck family for having us here. Again, second go-round, Bags. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. Yeah, so I recently, as you know, had a stamped concrete patio put in my home.
Yes.
Recently built a pergola. I didn't build one. I assembled one, but it felt like I built it because, you know, it's a million pieces of wood and a million screws, and you're basically starting from scratch. What do I need now? I need a grill.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, man, I'm going to show off some of these grills during the show, and maybe some of the viewers at home can help me pick one out.
Will you cook anything for us?
No.
Okay.
Not for you.
A great selection of Weber grills, Big Green Egg, anything you would need for your patio. As Bags does a little bit of shopping, we welcome you to come on down to Alpin Haus as well to check out. We're coming up on Memorial Day, right? Father's Day, not too far from now either. You're going to be doing a lot of grilling out and gathering now. The summer of gathering is about to begin in 2021 now that people are fully vaccinated for the most part. We've got a lot to get to on the show. Talk about, for the most part, that's injuries across Major League Baseball. There are so many injuries to talk about here, and I'm not going to pretend like I have a real theory, Bags. I'd love to get your thoughts on it, though.
You're talking to a Mets fan.
Aaron Rodgers is not at OTAs. Neither are his top wide receivers. Is this a message being sent to Packers management by not just the quarterback, but also the wide receivers? And we've got some fun video to share with you as well. A great catch in softball that I have a problem with. Me basically falling off a cliff in Hawaii. We'll show you that as well. Let's get it started. You're watching Honorado and Bagnardi.
This is Honorado and Bagnardi, brought to you by Alpin Haus.
All right, Bags, our guest on this week's show is host of The Wall on NBC, Chris Hardwick. He's your boy because he hosts a Walking Dead show.
Yep.
It's called The Talking Dead, right?
Talking Dead, yep.
So I have a feeling you'll ask him about that as well. We talked with Chris earlier in the week. We'll share that interview coming up later on.
You have a feeling. You know I say it because you were there and you just said we already did it. See, it's not a feeling. You know what's going to happen.
It's my natural intuition that this is going to happen.
Look at this. The magic of TV. Look at, there's my elbow in your shot.
Boy.
Anyway.
Can't get rid of that quicker than that. There
we
go. All right, let's talk about what's going on in Major League Baseball here, because there's so many injuries this season, Bags, and it isn't that it just feels like there are a bunch of injuries. Joel Sherman of the New York Post actually did the breakdown of how many more injuries there are this year through 48 games compared to last year and even the year before that. So forget the shortened season. He went back to 2018, 2019. And there are upwards of 100 more injuries across Major League Baseball, Shawnee, this year than there were in a normal 162 game. Why? What's up? What gives?
It's a really good question. I think if we knew the answer, we could stop it. We could prevent it. So I don't know that anybody knows the answer to that right now. What's frustrating as a fan, and you're looking right now at one of the many New York Mets who are hurt, Pete Alonso. What's frustrating as a fan, especially as a fan of a team who is bitten by this injury bug, maybe the worst here, is that we're so worried about player health and safety that the way the game is managed, the way the game not really is officiated in baseball necessarily, but everything that goes into now handling these players, right? Seems like we baby them to a degree, don't we? Especially compared to years past. And still, in spite of that, these guys are still getting hurt. So it's frustrating when you bring a guy back from an injury and he's on a real specific pitch count, or we do all these things to make sure that guys are going to stay healthy. And then what happens? All these guys get hurt anyway. And I don't know. It's extremely frustrating to me as a fan. I wonder if some of it has to do with workout regimens. Are these guys focusing so much on trying to bulk up that they're not really in baseball shape necessarily. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the answer is. What do you think?
Your Mets have 17 guys on the injured list. We showed you a shot of Noah Syndergaard, who left it's not even a rehab. It's a rehab start, but he left a minor league start. 17 guys on the IL for the Mets. The Yankees have a bulk of injuries as well. Aaron Hicks may be done for the year for New York. I don't have a theory, man. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know why. I'm sure there's a lot of truth to what you just laid out in terms of the training and the regiment and maybe how bulky some of these baseball bodies are now as opposed to years past. And the focus is on just simply like I said, bulk and strength to be able to hit the ball 400 plus feet. But I'm not going to pretend like I have this great idea as to why. I think it is a real problem. I'm not going to pretend like this is a no-hitter type scenario where it's going to even out something. No, I think guys who are perpetually injured, like the Stantons and Aaron Hickses of the world, will continue to get injured. It's the Confortos and the Alonsos and guys who maybe we just haven't witnessed as injured all that much in the past. Now I'm a little more concerned that we're seeing so many of them. My Braves, Marcell Ozuna is going to miss 6 weeks. Look, the biggest issue is not that there are so many injuries. It's the fact that baseball is missing stars now.
Yeah.
I mean, significant guys are missing a lot of time. And it's the same NFL thing. Like, nobody really cares about the NFL injuries until a star quarterback is out. Now there's a problem across the NFL because guys are getting injured. In baseball, because we're lacking the Trouts and Harpers currently, now we're kind of like drawing our attention to the fact that there are so many injuries this year.
All right, I'm going to say the S word, and I know we're on Facebook and we're on My4.
I think that means you can say anything you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think this has anything to do now with the fact that the league has really cracked down on steroids? You know, we talked about in the past how much steroids were used to really help guys recover from injuries, right? And I wonder if now that it really seems to be out of the game, do you think maybe this is an indicator of maybe more people were using certain drugs to kind of keep their bodies moving throughout certain injuries that maybe would have otherwise had them missing time?
Well, and you see a shot of our guy, Jeff Hoffman, who left his start Wednesday night with shoulder soreness and maybe headed for an IL stint. That's a great point, man. I don't want it to be true.
And it's probably not.
I don't know why. Why jump to the conclusion of positivity here when it was so rampant in the sport? And we know for a fact that a lot of guys were using not to simply get stronger, but to recover quickly,
right,
to keep their bodies going through a long season like the Major League Baseball one. I don't want it to be true, but I'm not going to discount it by any means.
Yeah, it's certainly something, I guess, to consider, is just maybe it was even more widespread than we realized because of what we didn't see. Guys who didn't come out and we didn't even know because they were able to maybe recover from something faster. I don't know. It's something to think about. Either way, I think it's very much out of the game now, which is important. And just as important, though, is going to be keeping guys healthy and figuring out a way to keep especially your star players on the field when you're talking about the money-making aspect of the game. I don't know. How long does it have to go for you before you really think, I mean, you just said you think it's going to continue, but how long before it becomes a real problem to where Major League Baseball says, we've got to analyze this to a degree of a task force?
What do you do?
Like, well, I don't know.
Oh my God, let me tell you something. The two dumbest words that anybody can, it's task force. We see it in politics all the time. It is, I mean, I hate let's assemble a task force.
My point
is people meeting who then don't do anything about it.
You don't have to tell me. Look, we see plenty of that.
Yes.
But my point is, before baseball says we actually have to do something to address it, how long does it have to go? Another season for you?
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Because look, it has happened organizationally with the Yankees' soft tissue injuries that we've talked about for the last few years. I think fans have kind of been like, what's going on with the training staff in New York? Where does this fall? Does it fall on Cashman? Who's the head trainer? What are they doing about all these soft tissue injuries we've seen in spring training and then throughout the season? I think some guys are just, for the lack of a more creative way to describe it, injury prone. Like you're not going to pencil Giancarlo Stanton in for 154 games every year, and he gets a day off here and there. Now he's going to miss time. You have to be prepared for that. Aaron Hicks has really kind of been the same way. And Judge, not yet this year, but don't you hold your breath that like at some point something's coming for Aaron Judge. So there's been concern organizationally, but league wide, I haven't felt it up until this year, really.
Do you think it's because of what I said, is that guys are kind of babied to some degree, and now they're not like in the old days? It was like, just go play baseball.
Maybe.
Go play 150, 160 games. Just go play. Go play them all. And I wonder if now we're so cautious about it that they're not really in that baseball shape where they can go out there and play a full season like they should be able to. Like the guy like DeGrom comes back from an injury and it feels like you're going to limit him, right? Or any guy. It's like, well, let's give him 5 innings. Let's give him X number of pitches. Don't tell me a guy can go out there and throw 100 miles an hour for 5 innings, but he can't do it for 7. Like at some point, if you're ready to come back and be healthy, let's go play ball. I think it's just too much over concern about this that now we're seeing the opposite effect take place. Let these guys play. And
DeGrom was really good in his first start back, but they did limit him. 63 pitches, 5 innings. He struck out 9 guys. He looked like Jacob DeGrom. We're live at Alpin Haus in Amsterdam, Alpin Haus Pool and Spa. There are boats. There's a fitness center. We've got some beautiful Weber grills behind us. The patio sets are incredible. I keep calling them fire pits. They're really fire tables. I mean, it has all evolved in the last few years for sure to make kind of your home the outdoor oasis and the gathering place that you want it to be. They've got it all for you here at Alpin Haus, our presenting sponsor on Honorado and Bagnardi. Coming up on today's show, we've got Chris Hardwick. He's going to talk to us about Red Nose Day, which is a great thing NBC does every single year as The Wall returns. Bags will pepper him with some Walking Dead questions, which I cannot wait for to see it again.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a great rivalry developing in the NBA playoffs.
Okay. I thought you were going to say in golf.
And it's not between player and player. There is a great rivalry developing golf. I can't wait to get to that. We've got all that coming up on today's show. But before any of that, Bags, we are going back to the saga in Green Bay. Because as much as I'd like to not have to talk about it, we have to address what is happening at voluntary OTAs for the Green Bay Packers. That's next. You're watching Honorado and Bagnardi.
Nutrition is 80% of a healthy lifestyle. With 4 locations in the 518, Bold has you covered. Delicious? I think that's a yes. It's never been easier or more affordable to eat healthy. Salads with 17 dressings to choose from. Acai bowls with unlimited toppings. Power grain bowls, oatmeals, smoothies, artisan toasts, and Belgian waffles. Live bold 7 days a week. At work, home, or on the go. Dine in, grab and go, pick up or delivery. Live bold, eat bold.
I'm Roger Weiland for this week's Quick Take, and the Aaron Rodgers saga is really getting old in Green Bay, isn't it? Was he going to play for Green Bay this season or not? And it's looking more and more like he will not play for the Green Bay Packers. And why? He's got issues with the front office that aren't going to be resolved anytime soon. You're not going to fire the GM. You're not firing the president. And honestly, hasn't the GM done a phenomenal job in putting the right players around Aaron Rodgers to lead them to a Super Bowl? It almost happened last year, and it can certainly happen this year. Good luck to Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know what team he's going to land on where he will have a better chance of winning a Super Bowl than where he is at right now with the Green Bay Packers.
And now, back to Honorado and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin Haus.
All right, Bags. The drama continues here with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers, and you have shifted locations. You are now shaded under a nice umbrella. That's great.
Look at this thing, man. Look at the size. It's hard to tell, but can you really see the size of that umbrella? This thing, I just told you, man, I built a pergola. I didn't even need to do it, man. I could have just come here and look at the size of that thing. And then look. Dude, that's a sectional, an outdoor sectional. I mean, that is some good stuff. So I'm going to just relax on the sectional while you sit over there in that rock-hard chair. And we'll talk about some Aaron Rodgers, right?
Do me a favor. Don't fall asleep on me while you're over there relaxing, all right?
Well, keep me entertained.
Yes, we will talk some Aaron Rodgers, and I do want to throw this out here as well. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on My 4, we encourage you to comment along, ask some questions that we can answer. We're happy to do that and at least give our opinion for whatever that's worth. And in the end, we are going to give, if you comment, if you ask a question, you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to Bold. If you're new to Bold in the capital region, it is a great spot to grab breakfast, lunch, or dinner, acai bowls, smoothies, salads, some flatbreads. They do great stuff there. And honestly, they're expanding. So they're in Schenectady, they're in Scotia, they're in Malta, they're in Troy, they're coming to Latham. They are across the capital region. So if you question us, if you comment to us, you'll be entered into win a $50 gift card to Bold, and that runs all the way through the weekend. So if you're watching us on Facebook, play along. If you're watching us on My 4, jump onto the News Channel 13 Facebook page and comment along as well. We
make
will
fun of us too if you want. Make fun of us.
Please. Yeah, listen, that might be good enough to get you the gift card.
Yeah.
All right. So this is funny. Carol says, I think Aaron heard you were in Hawaii. He got jealous. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is in Hawaii. He is not at voluntary OTAs right now in Green Bay, but Bags, neither are his top 5 wide receivers. Is this a message being sent to Packers management, or are these just 5 guys who don't feel like working out with a team in May?
No, I think when it's on that scale, it's probably a message. But I want you to take the lead on this one. This is your team. This is your guy in Aaron Rodgers. So please, man, you tell me. I'm starting to get the feeling he might not be in Green Bay when this season kicks off here. So, because I had said earlier on this show that I think, no, despite everything, he still will be. Now I'm not feeling that way. So I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah, look, I've said all along, I don't think he'll get traded. But that the longer this goes, the more I worry. And it's starting to feel like he's hell-bent on just getting out, no matter where that is. The problem, I keep coming back to this, though. He's a smart guy. He understands what goes into kind of the legacy of an NFL quarterback. And I don't think he feels pressure to win. I think he wants to be appreciated and then hopefully can deliver another Super Bowl to his resume. What's the better situation? You heard Rodgers say it there coming out of that commercial break. What's the better situation across the NFL? And don't give me the Broncos. Everybody's like, well, the Denver Broncos. The Broncos have the Kansas City Chiefs in that division. I mean, there's nobody else in the NFC North that worries Aaron Rodgers. You want to go chase Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs for the next few years? That, to me, is not a smart business decision. Rodgers, like I said, is a smart guy. I don't get it. This just continues to feel like hardball. Like, hey, I want a public apology. I want hand in this relationship. If I can steal a Seinfeld reference, I think Rodgers wants to feel like the Packers are going above and beyond to make him feel wanted. And that hasn't happened yet this offseason. No, in spite of all the things Rodgers has said.
Now, as a fan, we, of course, want our players to be completely invested in everything that's going on. But let me ask you this. How many people in how many different career paths are going to show up to something that's voluntary for their job?
I hear you. Yes. Very few. And that's why, I'm not blowing this out of proportion. Look, if Rodgers isn't there, I don't care. But the 5 wide receivers not showing up, now you start to think Adams, Valdez-Scantling, Equanimous St. Brown, Alan Lazard. I mean, all these guys have said, you know what? We're good. We're not going to be part of this either. And these are guys, Bags, who are not solidified NFL stars. Devontae Adams is the only one out of that group who would say, yes, I absolutely have a roster spot on any team in this league. The other guys are going to have to continue to fight for it.
If anything, look, yes, you want your guys, you want the players on your favorite team to show up for everything that's voluntary because, again, you want them to be as invested in the team and in winning as you are. But as a fan, you could look at this and say, well, look, our guys are together on this. This is a kind of a unified front here, and it is showing some camaraderie. And ultimately, the Packers only have a chance of doing anything if Aaron Rodgers is their quarterback. So whatever the rest of the team has to do to try to send a message to help make that happen and to help keep him there, I think as a fan, you have to be okay with it because, like I said, that's your best chance to win. So it's definitely a message being sent. I mean, that many guys, if it was just Aaron Rodgers, okay, he's Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't need voluntary workouts. You just got back from Hawaii. Would you rather be in Hawaii or at the TV station if our boss called and said we have a voluntary meeting to go to? I mean, come on.
I'd still be in Hawaii. Yeah,
Right.
certainly wouldn't be hanging out with you. What do you think of Adam's comment here? Send him to the Jets, and you're gonna have to take the letter A out of there. It's gonna be first round picks. Yeah, multiple. Adam's got that right, and then let your guy Wilson learn under Rodgers. Would you do that? I mean, Rodgers feels like he's got 3-4 more years of football left in him. If you do that, now you're already at the end of Wilson's rookie contract.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll give you Wilson too if you want him.
Wow.
You're talking about getting, like you just said, for 3 or 4 more years, arguably the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Give me that. Let me go try to put something together quickly here to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? Is winning a championship. Zach Wilson, I mean, he could come in and be okay. You don't know. It's a total unproven thing versus a something that couldn't be more proven at the NFL level, playing it at the highest level at that position, the most important position, as you like to point out, in sports. So, yeah, give me Aaron Rodgers any day, and I'll give up just about whatever I have to get him in.
Here's what Rodgers had to say on ESPN Sports Center. He said this to Kenny Mayne in his last broadcast. It's never been about the draft pick picking Jordan. Let's address that in a second. It's just kind of about a philosophy and maybe forgetting that it is about the people that make the thing go. It's about character. It's about culture. It's about doing things the right way. First, let me just address the first phrase here. Of course, it's about the draft pick. It's not about Jordan Love as a person. It's about the process of trading up to take a quarterback, the guy that Rodgers knows the Packers hope supplants him as the starter. This is not what Green Bay did when they took Rodgers while Favre was still on the roster. Rodgers fell to them in the draft, and they thought, you know what? Let's take a guy here because Brett Favre has flirted with retirement for so long. So this is about the draft pick. This is about feeling disrespected. That's what this is about. So I don't mean it's about the draft pick. I get that it isn't about Jordan Love, and he's not disrespecting the young QB, but it is about drafting a guy that the front office figured is going to replace Rodgers sooner rather than later.
I wonder if in his head he's not just sort of combining these things. In other words, to him, is that sort of a reflection of a culture as not being invested in the guy like Aaron Rodgers as he thinks they should be, so in a way it is about that, but he's saying it's not directly about that. But again, I think in his head, maybe it is all tied together as what he sees the culture, because what is wrong with the culture in Green Bay? I really wonder, unless it's just about how he feels he's being treated personally. And of course that pick is all part of that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the culture it's about one person right now.
Yeah,
it's about Rodgers not feeling the love. And one observation here too about the receivers not being in camp or voluntary OTAs is that this isn't helping Jordan Love at all. I mean, this guy is in a no-win situation, right? The receivers don't want to show up to help him early on, and again, it isn't about him. It's about protecting and backing their guy, Aaron Rodgers. But you also have Packers fans like me who are like, man, unless this guy comes out and plays really well, we're not going to view any trade of Rodgers as being worth it. I've said it to you. I would rather lose with him than kind of win without him or have him winning somewhere else is the way I've phrased it. I'd rather win with him than see him win somewhere else, even if he's on the downside of his career. I'd rather keep this guy who is an absolute legend with this franchise. I don't want to say this 2.0, man. I lived it. It's not fun.
I know. I'll just say this. If you want your guys there, you want them helping the young quarterback, don't make it voluntary.
Well, yeah, I know. And look, at some point
don't say you don't have to come if you don't want to, and they get mad when nobody comes.
I hear you. Yeah. Here's Adam here too. Julio Jones will be in Tennessee before Aaron. He's reacting to a comment the Rockman threw in here. Shawnee sent Rodgers to the Titans for Tannehill. That's not a deal that we would do straight up. That's for sure. But keep commenting along and throw some questions at us here. We're happy to answer them. And you'll be entered to win a $50 gift card to Bold, which we're going to give away each and every week here on the show. All right, Bags. We had a fun conversation earlier in the week with Chris Hardwick from NBC's The Wall. He's a host of that show. It's an intense game show that is returning now. It coincides with Red Nose Day, which is a great thing that NBC does each and every year. When we come back here on Honorado and Bagnardi, we're going to talk with the host of The Wall, Chris Hardwick. Hang on.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpin Haus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
And now, back to Honorado and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin Haus.
All right, Bags. As you know, we love to do things that involve the NBC properties here at News Channel 13. We've got all the red you can handle at News Channel 13, as you know. It's part of our branding. Look at the set behind me. Look at my hair, for crying out loud. And we are so pumped to talk with Chris Hardwick, who's the host of The Wall, a game show on NBC that is as intense and intimidating as it sounds.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about this. So, Chris, thanks for joining us, man. We're going to start with Red Nose Day because the return of The Wall comes with a real special occasion here. Talk about the genesis of Red Nose Day and the involvement with The Wall and what this really means to helping underserved children really across the world.
Sure. So Red Nose Day was founded in 1988 by a guy named Richard Curtis, who's a really famous screenwriter. He wrote Notting Hill and Love Actually, and just really some of the best romantic comedies in the history of cinema. And he wanted to know, can we use entertainment to drive positive social change? Can comedians, performers, actors come together to help children, try to end poverty, but not just poverty. Also, can we make sure kids are educated? Can we make sure that they have adequate health care? Can we make sure that they have everything that they need, not just to be okay, but to thrive? And so it was incredibly successful. I think they've raised, in 40 countries in that time, like $1 billion. And it came to the U.S. in 2015. And I'm fairly certain we've raised about $240 million since then. And I've been involved since 2016, and it's been incredible. And we used to do this big live show outside of 30 Rock where there were crowds of people and a stage and a band and comedy sketches. And obviously that's not possible this year, but we were able to take an episode of The Wall and theme it around Red Nose Day to hopefully drive the same amount of awareness and donations as we did with the live show.
This show, as I said, is incredibly intense. White and gold, and every color you could imagine but red seems to be good on this show, Chris, really. But now we're going red with this show, right?
We do point that out on the show. Normally red is a very bad color on this show because it means money is being taken away. But as long as it's a nose, we put on red noses. And I'm sure people have been to a Walgreens and seen the red noses by the cash register. This year they're doing digital red noses at rednoseday.org. But yes, so I hear what you're saying and you're not wrong, but we've made an exception this year because it's such an important cause.
No doubt.
Well, Chris, before I knew you as the host of The Wall, I, of course, knew you as the host of Talking Dead. I'm a big Walking Dead fan. That closet behind me's got all the Kirkman books. I've seen all the episodes of all 3 shows. I came prepared for you today, man. Look at this. I got my Walking Dead poster for you. I'm just
fantastic.
Showing off. So I got to ask you real quick, 3 quick hitter Walking Dead questions, all right? All right. So if you could bring back one character who's been killed off on the show for the final season, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's such a, oh man.
So I wrote down some names. I wrote down Jane, Lori, Dale, Herschel, Glenn, Carl.
It would probably be Herschel, to be honest. And, sadly, we lost Scott Wilson a couple of years ago in real life, and it's heartbreaking. He was just the sweetest, most wonderful man. And Herschel was such an incredible character. We would often say as like within the first 5 or 6 seasons of the show, as we really kind of started to understand, we lose people on the show left and right. It's like, you never want to be the moral compass of the show. That happened with Dale early on. And then when Herschel started to be that for Rick, it was like, oh no, but because those characters tended to not stick around, unfortunately. But Herschel was such a wonderful character. And certainly now, Herschel has a grandson that he never got to meet. And so it just, I think I would bring Herschel back.
All right, we got less than a minute. So 2 real quick hitters. More iconic image from the show: Rick's hat, Daryl's jacket, or Negan's bat? What are you taking?
Oh, wow. I mean, you mean the Daryl's with the angel wings? The leather? Yeah. That's pretty iconic. Like when you see it riding away, I mean, they're all iconic. I actually have one of Rick's prop badges from the first season of the show, like his actual badge. Nice. So that's kind of a neat thing. That's a tough one. But then if a lot of people see a bat wrapped in barbed wire, they immediately go, oh, that's Walking Dead. Right. That's Negan. So that's for sure. That one's pretty identifiable too.
All right, last one. Who is the most surprising fan of The Walking Dead who you've come across, whether it be through Talking Dead or just in everyday walk of life, who you're like, wow, you're a fan too?
I just had Billy Crystal on the podcast recently. And when we finished the podcast, he was like, so what's going on with Negan? And I was like, what? You're a Walking Dead fan? He goes, yeah, my wife and I love the show, So he wanted to know like what I thought was going to happen with Negan. So I thought that was really kind of fun. And obviously I've met kids, older people, like people from all walks of life. And it's been one of my favorite things about being involved with the show is just the community that surrounds Walking Dead is incredible.
No doubt, man. And you're a huge part of that, obviously, with what you do with Talking Dead. So thank you for that.
Thursday night, The Wall returns on NBC, and for a great cause, Red Nose Day, $250 million raised since NBC's been involved in 2015. Chris Hardwick, the host of The Wall, and what I think is really cool, a teammate of LeBron James's through this project. Chris, thank you so much for the time, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Thank you.
Depressed, overworked, job sucks, underappreciated. When life sucks, just say Dillagaff. Our clothing line puts the FU back into fun. Nothing will give you greater satisfaction. Dillagaff isn't just an attitude, it's a lifestyle. Some people ride the crazy train, we drive that mother. Check out our selection at DillagaffUSA.com.
And now, back to Honorado and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin Haus.
All right, Bags, you have switched it up again on me here. Where the heck are you, buddy?
I am in a Barletta Corsa 2.3 UC. This thing is awesome. Let me tell you, you know that I am, of course, in love with my girlfriend, Elisa. I just fell in love again, man, when I walked into this thing. I got to show this thing off. Hold on one second. This is like, I feel like I'm on a luxury yacht. This is unbelievable. First of all, that's a gorilla back there. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's got a VIP pass on him. A woman walked by and said, hey, I love your co-pilot. Is that your first mate? And I said, no, that's my primate. Yeah, I know. That was bad. But look at this. Beautiful seating in the front of this thing.
Nice.
Okay. Let me take you in the back.
Like Noah's Ark, by the way. You got all kinds of animals in there.
Noah's Ark, yeah. Look at this. We got the spread. We got the spread in the back seat that just extends off. I mean, this thing couldn't be a more beautiful ride. And I don't know how much they are, but I know I want one. So what do you want to talk about this segment, buddy?
Yeah, well, maybe they'll hook you up. here at Alpin Haus. That's where we are, Sean and Chris. We are in Amsterdam at Alpin Haus Pool and Spa, where they've got the fitness center as well, and all of your patio needs, all of your pool needs. The cleaners are hot right now, from what I'm told. The pool cleaners, the robots that clean out your pools are hot right now. So if
like a
you're
Roomba, right? Like a Roomba for the pool.
That's exactly what it is, man.
Yeah.
If you're in need of one of those, come on down and get it now before they are all out. The biggest thing that has caught my eye in the NBA playoffs, Bags, is nothing that has been the result of a game. It is the rivalry that is brewing between Madison Square Garden fans and Trae Young, and I absolutely love it. I love every minute of it. I love seeing Spike Lee get fired up against one player in particular now, and it isn't exactly Reggie Miller, Spike Lee level, but these Knicks fans are on Trae Young, and I know Trae's not happy about it, and I think even a lot of Knicks fans have said may have gone a little bit over the line in game one, but it is, I think, is going to continue to be hopefully a good-natured rivalry between this really fervent fan base and a guy who obviously in Trae Young is ready to embrace it and to call Knicks fans out in post-game press conferences. Man, I love it.
He really is. Trae Young is a guy who has sort of surprised me. I think that you and I both were not quite as high on him early, and I don't know that you're really super high on him now, but he has proven quite a bit to me to sort of prove me wrong that he can be a legit leader of a team and a guy who can help you win. He's not going to do it on his own. And they're not certainly going to win a championship, but he has a certain bravado to him, a certain swagger, and he's got the game to back it up, man. I mean, you talk about game one, they got on him, and he answered late, and he got the final word. So, yes, you love that. Spike Lee, be careful, man. You remember what happened with Reggie Miller. So, as a Knicks fan, I'd be like, dude, just – look, it's great, but we don't want to necessarily give anybody any more encouragement to try to go out there and win at the mecca of basketball. That they got enough motivation, certainly in the playoffs. But as a fan, it's so great to see. It's so fun, and it's just more sort of reaffirming that we are getting so much back to normal with fans in the building. But this one is even a little bit more special because we have playoff basketball at the Garden again, and it is really fun.
Did you see what the mayor of New York City said earlier in the week? This is after the Knicks lost game one. Here he is.
On behalf of the people of New York City and anyone who cares about actually playing basketball the right way, stop hunting for fouls, Trae. I want to quote Steve Nash, one of the great player, great coach. He says, quote unquote, "That's not basketball." Trae, that hawk's not going to fly in New York City. Come on. Play the game the right way. See if you can win. I think the Knicks are going to teach you a lesson.
What do you think about that?
Game on.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. Look, there's so much that's tongue-in-cheek in there, right? That hawk's not going to fly in New York City. But this is a politician understanding the passion of a fan base. Lean into it, man. These are your people, right? Yeah. These are the people who voted for you. Play along, be that teammate, and I love it, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's always some politics involved when you're hearing from a politician to say, okay, but look, that felt genuine in that he is actually a Knicks fan too, and it's not like he's just saying it to try to say it because it's cool. He's saying it because it's actually coming from the heart a little bit, so you at least like to see that for sure, man.
Yeah, I love that. All right, speaking of a different fan base, and this is a fan base, Shawnee, that they make me crazy at least once a season. Not once a year, once every basketball season, once every baseball season, and usually once every football season, and that is the Philadelphia fan base, okay? I'll wear colors on my sleeve here. I'm not a fan of these fans. They just seemed, I'm lumping them all in. So one bad apple, I'm sorry, you're spoiling the bunch here. And we saw it again middle of the week here with the Wizards losing game 2 to Philadelphia. Russell Westbrook gets injured with about 10 minutes left in the game. He has to leave the game, go back to the locker room. Here he is with his ankle injury bags.
Yep.
And as he's leaving the court, a fan dumps popcorn on him What are we doing, Philadelphia people? Why is it always come back to you, seemingly? You remember what the Eagles fans did? They threw snowballs at Santa. Okay.
Yep.
I remember the video that popped up on social media. This is years ago now, of a Philadelphia Phillies fan cursing out a young girl, even forcing himself to vomit in that person's direction. This seems to be a recurring problem with Philadelphia fans in general. I know every fan base is going to have jerks among it, and they're going to use language that parents don't. I get it. But it just seems to always cross the line when it's Philadelphia people. Why?
Yeah, man. I don't know. They're punks. I don't know. There's something about it. They just don't know how to hold themselves accountable, how to be responsible at a ball game. I don't like it.
And look, maybe people are going to watch this and say it's a thing of popcorn. Who cares? But to me, it's about respecting another individual, right?
Well,
like,
for sure, but also,
I'm not going to throw food at somebody.
No, exactly. And also, you have to respect that barrier, even if it isn't a physical one, when you're as close to the action as you are in the NBA, that barrier between player and fan, because the second we see a player break that barrier, there are serious consequences, especially ever since what happened in Detroit with the mouse at the Palace, right? So you have to, as a fan, respect that barrier, especially because the other side can't cross it at all. Zero tolerance. So you have to understand that and hold yourself responsible. And look, people do stupid things, like you said, in every arena, especially when they get drunk, and that we've seen limits on alcohol and cut it off in the seventh inning and this and that. But it's still not an excuse. And for Philly, you're right. It seems to happen more often than it does in other places. Get your act together. Behave at the ball game. You want to boo. You want to say whatever you want. It's bad enough to get to say some things they say, but you can't really stop that. But yeah, don't break that barrier between player and fan. You can't do it.
Yeah, I hate the idea that, well, I bought a ticket, I'm entitled to kind of do whatever I want in this space. No, that's not right. And look, the more people we ban from these arenas, the more seriously fans are going to kind of think about how they act, or some of the things they do that lead them to these actions. I guess there was a streaker at a Nationals game as well. A guy who fell on the tarp and I think then climbed into that metal coil that holds the tarp. I mean, look, people are excited to be back out in public, are they not?
They really are. Maybe a little too excited.
Yeah, clearly. All right, there's a great rivalry brewing in golf, of all places. Is that an oxymoron, Bags? Do you believe that we could have a real heated rivalry in a gentleman's sport like golf?
No.
Before we do any of that, Bags, let's get another look at that boat here as we go to break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Bryson DeChambeau v. Brooks Koepka. That's next on Honorado and Bagnardi. Look at that.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through products and purpose. Claim your crown.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Honorado and Bagnardi. Brought to you by Alpin Haus.
All right, Sean, do you believe that well, look at that, man. What's on the grill? What did you cook for us?
Looks like some burgers and some steak. This is the Weber Genesis 2.
That's what I've got at home.
Which I know sounds like something that could be in orbit, but look at this thing, man. I love the side. You do here. You boil up a big pot of water. You do corn on the cob.
Yep.
While you're doing the burgers over here, I mean, what says summer cookout more than that, man? I'm going to seriously consider walking out of here with one of these.
Well, before you do that, text Elisa and make sure she's okay with it.
Probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. All right. Do you believe that in a sport like golf, Shawnee, we could have a very heated rivalry, which is what appears to be really developing, although maybe it's been below the surface and we're just now seeing it as fans, between Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. And maybe I should put Brooks first and Bryson second, because you've all seen the meme by now, I'm sure, on social media of Brooks Koepka just giving a reporter kind of this look as Bryson walks by him. And then it really elevated middle of the week on Twitter between these two guys with the announcement that we are going to get the match 2, which will team up Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers and Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. And so Brooks Koepka goes, sorry, bro, at Aaron. DeChambeau says, nice to kind of be living rent-free in your head. Brady got in on the fun with the meme of Koepka and DeChambeau walking by him, and then Aaron Rodgers as well. So, look, the football guys are having fun with it, but this is real between the two golf guys. And I even asked Dottie Pepper about it earlier in the week. Like, is this real? Have you known about it? Because there seems to be genuine disdain between Koepka and DeChambeau. And she said, oh, yeah, this is real. Like, people on tour know that if there's one guy who really dislikes the way DeChambeau approaches everything in this sport, it's Brooks Koepka.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not into this one. Do you really care about a couple of golfers going at it on Twitter? You said it on the other side of the break. It's like, this is sort of the country club sport, the gentleman's club. Like, you know, did you hear what Marv said about you in the clubhouse? Like, I don't know. I can't get into this. I cannot get into this with these two golfers having a Twitter beef. Like, dude, you're golfers. Come on. Are you into this? I mean, it's fun that the NFL guys are involved. You know, that adds some element for me of interest, and I'm curious to see how the match goes. But, you know, Brooks Koepka's not even in the thing, right? He's not even competing in that, but he's got to weigh in. I don't know. I don't want to hear it.
I love this, man. And look, Koepka and DeChambeau are not your country club type guys. I mean, I don't know exactly what their backgrounds are, but these guys look like they live in the weight room. All right. I mean, they're filled with this testosterone. They're not your average golfers, man. And I love to see the beef they have.
Like, they're not your average badminton players. They're golfers. They're golfers having a beef on Twitter, man. I don't know. You're really into this. And look, if they were going to go head to head as part of the match,
yeah, that would
be an added element. Now I've got something that there's at least going to be a competition to sort of settle it on the course type of thing. No, this is going to disappear very quickly. And yeah, they've got a beef that goes back, and the beef will continue. But this immediate one, this back and forth on Twitter, it'll settle down, and then that'll be it. And maybe, you know, down the road they have another little beef. But should I care? I don't care.
Listen, Tiger Phil had a rivalry. Now I understand
they're the top two guys in the sport at that time.
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
Different.
I get that. These, but every sport needs a good rivalry. Every sport needs a villain from time to time. Right? We talk about Trae Young. Every sport needs a little bit of a villain. And in this way, it's DeChambeau and not Koepka, because DeChambeau is approaching his golf game from a very scientific standpoint. It flies in the face of what so many people are taught as they learn the game of golf. That DeChambeau is just so strict into the equipment that he is using. And that's where his starting focus is. And then he goes out from there, where a lot of other guys are kind of like, it's about my swing, it's about my approach. And DeChambeau has remade his body. He's the villain in this because he just kind of flies in the face of what a lot of other guys are taught early on. And that's why Koepka makes a face like he made on Twitter, or not on Twitter, but as they were recording an interview. And of course it has now lived everywhere since.
I get that these two guys are not scrubs. I understand that, but wouldn't it still be more interesting today if it was Tiger and anybody, or Phil and anybody else? You know, it's got to be those. To me, it's got to be still somebody who you care about if you're going to bring me into a Twitter beef in a sport of golf. Come on.
Okay. Did you see the highlight of the week? And it happened in softball. And it's an absolutely incredible catch that this high school softball player makes, Bags. Look at this grab.
Oh my God.
Insane. Now,
as
you can imagine, I have a problem with this.
Oh, for God's sake. You're going to ruin this. You have a problem with that?
I do.
You can tell me. Go ahead.
This incredible catch, it should not count.
Because she winds up out of the field of play.
No, not necessarily because she winds up out of the field of play. If she catches this over an actual wall, okay, not a fence that you could just easily do that, right? And her momentum just takes her completely through it. I'll play it back again here for you. Her momentum just goes right through though. If it's an actual wall or fence, fine.
But it's not.
And then where are the fans? Why aren't they lining the outfield wall they would at almost any other baseball or softball game? If there are actual fans in the area and not 20 feet back, she doesn't make this catch.
All I'm hearing from you is if it was a brick wall instead of a mesh fence, if there were fans, there aren't. It is what it is. She is making this catch in the field of play that has been established for this competition. Why do you have a problem with that? Some places don't even have an outfield fence in high school. So what would you say? Well, if they had a fence, no, that's a great catch. You can't take anything away. How are you going to let a high school girl dive over a wall like that and make a catch, and you're going to sit up here on the show and say, I got a problem with that?
Because I think it's getting overblown and overplayed. That's why.
I mean, if you made that catch, come on.
Please, if I made that catch, you think I have any ability to try to make a catch like that? There's absolutely no way.
What do you think is more uncomfortable? Can you take the full shot of me, please? More uncomfortable on this show right now. You getting after a high school girl for making a catch, or
I wish I had
being in the hot tub with these two this entire segment.
Yeah, I wish I had the telestrator to circle the couple that is over your shoulder.
Yes, that is. Now you can see it in the full screen shot here. This is obviously an advertisement for a hot tub company or whatever. But when it was just the earlier two shot of us, it was just me with these two people, which was great.
All right. John says in relation to the softball catch, if that was football, it would have been ruled incomplete.
What's the first word of that sentence?
If.
Thank you. It's not. It's a great catch. It's a great catch.
It's a great catch. And I know that other people have said to me, well, what about the Jeter catch? The Jeter catch, remember, he goes flying into the stands, he comes up and he's bloodied. The ball was in the glove while his feet are on the field, right? And now I'm not saying, but here's the thing,
so then this is a better catch.
But you wouldn't count it if, let's say, a baseball player, right, climbs over a wall, but his feet haven't hit the ground on the other side yet, and he catches the ball mid-air. Is that an out?
I would say if the feet haven't been established on the other side of the wall, like if you climbed it over and you're standing there and then catch it, no, you can't do that. But I would say if you're going up the wall, I mean, we've seen guys sort of half climb a wall and make the catch over it.
Not that. I'm talking about full body over the wall, but still mid-air, feet not established on the ground yet. You're counting that.
Yeah, I say you're midair going over. That's a catch. Yeah.
You're out of your mind. You are out of your mind. Hey, by the way, how about losing some footing? This is us in Hawaii. We rappelled down waterfalls, and I said I would show this to you last week, and I didn't, so I'm making good on it. We're maybe 100 feet up in the air. This is me going down, and you're about to see a real great act of athleticism here. Now, the guy wants me to move my left foot, and instead I'm basically hanging upside down off a cliff by a waterfall. I would eventually reestablish myself here, as you're about to see in about 5 seconds, and I would make it down the cliff and jump into the natural pool below. But I really thought this might be it for me.
Yeah.
Sean's going to have to carry the show himself from here.
Right, Bagnardi and Bagnardi. So what's going on in your head in that moment, that initial moment where you have the slip? That's good, Nat audio too there. Where you have that initial moment where you slip.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much more you can say. Look, the instructors, and it is Rappel Maui. The instructors were phenomenal. They basically say you cannot fall. Like we will stop you from falling almost no matter what happens. And you don't really believe it, Bags, until you are in that moment hanging sideways, upside down from a cliff.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't believe it. So we did ziplining in Thailand, which was sort of a similar kind of fright as you are suspended, but you have, of course, the same assurances that, look, nothing is going to happen here. We've only lost 2 or 3 people since we started doing this, 2 years ago. But yeah, it's really exciting. And isn't there something about it too, just doing it in Hawaii, or like for us doing it in Thailand? There's something about, like, we've done ziplining locally too. When you're somewhere else, and I know we talked about it last week, how Hawaii feels very much like a foreign country. You feel like the rules are different, or that there are no rules to some degree, right? And it's like, okay, if anything happens to me X many miles away from home, it's a lot different, right? So there's that added element of fear to it, which of course adds to some of the excitement and the enjoyment of a vacation.
Yeah, we did zip lining in Costa Rica as well, and that was me still going into the water. And it was them. But it was a different kind of fear. When you're ziplining and you're hanging out over an abyss, there's not much you can do. So you just kind of suspend fear because even if I get stuck, there's not much I can do here. When you are in a little bit of control as you rappel with this rope and you have no clue what you're doing, even as much as people tell you you're safe, you're not going to fall, this, that, and the other thing, you don't believe it. It's hard to put that into your mind where, okay, no matter what happens here, I'm safe. Here's the problem. You have too much control. You don't trust yourself to be able to do what is necessary. Whereas if you're zip lining, it's all, kind of the momentum and the machinery, if you will, that's going to get you to the other side. You have to trust the science of it as opposed to trusting yourself with a rope.
All right, before we get out of here, I got to ask you one quick NBA question. Do you feel at this point, as we just get a couple of games in here, a few games into each first round series, that there is one series in which you don't already know the outcome? For me, it's only that Knicks-Hawks series where I think it could kind of still go either way. But all the other ones, I'm feeling pretty confident about. Even series in which both teams have already won at least one game.
So you like the Lakers?
I do.
You like the Jazz?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to 1-8? Come on. And the Lakers, that game 2 was critical to right the ship before getting to go back home. We'll see what happens throughout.
No chance the Clippers come back.
No chance. You can't lose the first 2 at home.
Are you on Portland or Denver?
That series, I'm on Portland. Okay. And I think that one, that would be the next one after Knicks Hawks for me, where there would be maybe a hint of doubt or question to it. But outside of that real coin flip Knicks series, I'm really confident in all the other ones.
Okay. All right. If you're watching us on Facebook, please feel free to comment even after the live broadcast is over. You will be entered to win a $50 gift card from Bold. If you're watching us on TV, jump onto the News Channel 13 Facebook page, comment along there, and you will get your same chance to win that $50 gift card to Bold. All right, Bags, been a lot of fun, man. As always, you have toured the Alpin Haus facility. We will see you guys next week.